Hold on. We're back. Episode 4. We're recording. We got Piere Stratum, Alec Laird, and the host with the most.
Yeah. If
I am not going to swear during today's interview.
Good. That's good.
Joe, I heard you in rehab to try and get that out of your system.
Yeah, but obviously I can't do. I'm running out of days. So I'm doing Gamblers Anonymous on Monday. I'm trying to go to church on Tuesdays. Golf on Wednesdays. Prepare for the podcast on Thursdays. Podcasts on Fridays. Like I'm running out of days to do the swearing rehab, but I'm trying my hardest. Right.
So you're not gambling.
Hey, Brew, after that horse of yours yesterday in the 7th or 6th. Oh, China.
Don't tell me. Don't tell me. Yeah.
How does it, listen, I didn't even know we were going to talk about it, but how does it run unplaced?
Looked like you didn't enjoy the going.
Okay, we're putting it down to that. Fair enough. Fair enough. Okay, so there you heard it first, guys. Next time Alec's horse runs, what's it called again, Al?
Command Pilot.
Command Pilot. We're looking for better going. Then we can have a little bet again, get our money back. Right. Striker, tell us what you're going to show us. Show us what you want to show us.
Well, obviously, Alec would know more about these horses, but I've heard it's got a nice reputation, so follow it. Alec, I wanted to show you what is this here?
That was you and me, our first one, eh?
Alrighty, and here we go. Yeah, here's the whole.
You got that?
Got the whole thing, and who's at the end here? The 100 running.
They closed the frame after you and me.
Yeah, that's it. So that's supposed to be you, supposed to be me, and Mr. Jeffy in London News.
That's him.
Oh, wasn't that just fantastic, eh?
Yeah,
it was yesterday, wasn't it? It literally was yesterday. Does it feel like that?
No. So long ago.
Oh, I can tell you exactly where I was when I watched that horse win. Eh? I was in Paulo de Carmo. My friend had a tote agency, and because it was in Hong Kong, they had a television that showed Teletrack or whatever it was in those days. And it was obviously early morning on a Sunday morning, and I went to Paul's tote agency in Market Street, Johannesburg, and that's where I watched London News win in Hong Kong. Unbelievable.
Yeah,
Hong Kong,
Hong Kong. I'm talking about Hong Kong. Yeah, I'm talking about Hong Kong.
There's another story. Yeah,
I've got the reputation of being always very negative, but when I rode this horse, and they had the cocktail party, I think the night before, 2 nights before, at Gravel, before the July. I still remember walking in, and I saw this empty spot on this painting, and I said, I will be there with Alec and London News, because it was just a pencil drawing at that stage. He didn't know which horse and trainer and so this is how highly I rated London News and how easy he was to ride. He was just it was a pleasure riding him.
Yeah, listen, I just want to say something, Striker. You don't have a reputation for being negative. You've got a reputation for getting 21 days.
Hey, that's only 1 day. You must know the other times I've been whipped. Yeah, very sorry.
Listen, if you hadn't had so many suspensions, you would have ridden 20,000 winners.
That's also true. Yeah, you know what? The staffs have to see it the way they see it. I see it differently as a jockey. And obviously those horrible punters out there, and I'm going to say horrible punters, because there are some of them that are so critical who don't know the back of the tail or the front of the nose, and it really aggravates me. That will have bad comments to say. But I know what happened in the race. I could feel what my horse was running around. You can clearly see it. I feel I'm hard done by. And but you know what? I'm at a stage of my life, in my career, where, like you said earlier, I race fresh. So I have to race every day. And
you definitely have been riding more winners since you've been getting more suspensions. That's for sure.
Exactly. So you know what? I'm looking after my body indirectly, because the subs are helping me look after myself, and I'm going to just try and enjoy it.
Right. Let's talk about Alec. Right. So I've had the very late in my life the privilege of having horses with Alec, because obviously Alec's racing royalty, right?
Yeah.
Let's not beat around the bush, right? The whole family.
There's no such thing.
Are you a better trainer than Russell and then Charles?
Everybody's got their way. I mean, what are you talking about?
Alec, so that's great, because that's what Piere wants to know from you. Everybody's got their way. That's exactly what Striker's main question to you is today. Go on, Piere.
Yeah, Alec, I wanted to know how do you seem to prep a horse for the big day spot on? You always seem to get the best out of them on the big day. What do you do to get them to peak on the big day? You run them before, obviously. Do you take it easy and it's all prep runs? And or you tell me, how do you do it?
Yeah, obviously it takes planning. I mean, it's months of planning. If you you can't just rock up on the day, obviously. And one of the ways to do it is you pick the day that you want to peak on, and you work backwards from there. So you say, oh, I'll have him at this stage, going into this run and this run, and some races you have to be ready to win. So you can't peak a horse 12 months of the year. So it goes back to the days of my father or Terence Millard and those guys, Herman Brown, David Payne. They all used to do the Cape season and the Joburg and the Durban season. In between, they would do the Joburg season. They would maybe raid Joburg, but it was mainly focused on Cape Town and Durban. So the horse would peak twice in a year, basically. I mean, you can't keep a horse peak all year round.
Yeah. And
So do you?
Yeah, sorry to interrupt. Having become an owner in Alec's yard, like I can testify from an owner's perspective how he puts this in play. So obviously we had Billy Bowlegs with Alec, and you know Billy was coming along, and then when Alec got a plan for him, and by the way, whoever's watching this, you are partaking in the only sport in the world where the most successful person in that sport or horse in that sport fails 80% of the time. So failure is part of our sport, right? You can't win every race. And once Alec knew that we were going to have a go with Billy in the July, he worked backwards. The problem clearly, obviously, sometimes is the program doesn't allow, or the rain or whatever impacts on your plan.
With Billy it was different because we targeted the derby, and then it wasn't easy to keep him going, you know.
Yeah.
So we had to. It was a contingency plan going into July. It wasn't the best plan.
No, correct. Go on, Piere.
Alex, so if your third run, say the horse has had a break in the race, and then you're planning this horse, say, for the July. Your third run, would your third run be the July run, or be like your fourth run? How would you?
Yeah, very often the third run, and sometimes it's going to be the fourth run
Okay, so I'm going to work backwards. So first run, is that like just a prep run?
Well, you see, if we're talking about the horse that's the top horse, say the Politician or the Pocket Power, or you're talking about London News, you qualify. So you can, it makes it easier for you to plan. You don't have to be at your peak for the qualifying races because you're in the race. When you're still trying to qualify, you might have to put in extra runs. With a horse like you look back on their records, the perfect program, even going back to Sea Cottage, was a sprint, sometimes a 1200 meter, which is unusual in South Africa. We do it. They don't do it in England, say, but 1400, that drill hall is weight for age, the mile, July. That's third run, July, and gallops in between, obviously. So that's a nice prep. It's a tried and tested prep. That sort of thing with the top horse.
So would you say, would your second run then also be like a prep run, or you're already starting to look?
Yeah, you want to be pretty close to your best, because and you if you're talking about those sort of horses, you're the best horse in the country. You can win that wait for age mile and you're not fully wound up, but you're fit enough to win it. You know, you don't want
so
to.
good.
You
You're
don't
just
want to
so
have the
good.
horse unfit and hurt him. It's going forward. Each run he's going forward with that run, so you're fairly fit for the first one.
So your second was 95%
Yeah,
ready.
exactly, yeah.
And after that second run, and say now your third run is your peak run, the July, do you just go through normal track work at home, or do you pick up the work, or do you slack down? Or
You know, you know why we have to understand that question, Alec? Because the four words, Piere Stratum and track work, don't really go well together.
He will be there for the top horse, though, if you
Yeah, he
ask
will.
him. His eyes might be puffy from sleep, but he's there.
yeah,
Go on. Answer the question.
The track work, yeah. When you plan the races, you'll plan the gallops in between, and it'll be different for different horses. Some horses are more burly than others, and another horse is more clear-winded. I mean, talking about Billy Bowlegs, he was a very clear-winded horse. He didn't work too hard at home either. He was a bit. He looked after himself, but he didn't need to. He got fit quicker.
Yeah.
But you get a big horse that needs a heavy horse, he might need more work, you know. So it all depends.
So you're basically just ticking them over. Your second runners get them to that fitness, and then they 100% fit for your target
It depends
race.
on the gap. Yeah, the gap of 3 weeks, you might put one gallop in, one good hard gallop with a 3-week gap like that.
Yeah. You know what I like about Alec Piere as well? Like Alec genuinely follows pattern races and racing all over the world. Like you can ask him about a horse in England and he'll know. So I think, and I deal with quite a lot of trainers. There are quite a lot of trainers in South Africa that also watch what international people do and then adapt to our methods, right?
Yeah. Well, I must say to Alec, he's very knowledgeable. Number one. Number two, you can ask every jockey. They enjoy riding for Alec, and they especially enjoy being stable jockey to Alec, because we find he's very reasonable. We find that he can read races. As I said before, when I rode in the UK, he's so used to making excuses in South Africa that when I was riding UK and I made excuses, the trainer would stop me in my tracks and say, "No, sorry, I saw the race. No need to make excuses. My horse is not good enough." And Alec is that type of person. He reads it, tells it as it is. We want to make excuses for horses that run below form or maybe they're just not good enough. But Alec sees it as it is, and he accepts your reasoning, and it's so much easier to ride for a guy like that.
Yeah, and he's genuinely a ledge. He is a ledge because the horses he's been associated with over the years. You know, when I was Rene's agent, Alec wouldn't even throw me a bone. But when I did Gary Waterston's rides, then I got a couple of, then he started taking my phone calls.
But Alex is a loyal trainer to his jockey.
Yeah, 100%. Yeah, and he's a good oak. So, listen,
He is.
He's a great oak. So, we've talked about a few things. Alec, obviously, some of the people that watch this, all they've heard in the last 8 minutes or whatever is noise, right? How are we looking for Saturday, China? Dark silver, fire.
You talk about lazy. Dark silver was. I mean,
I
Gary.
didn't say lazy. Are you calling Piere Stratum lazy? I'm just asking.
No, Dark silver. Dark silver. He was. I mean, before he ran, he was the slowest horse in the stable, and
Sure.
I mean, slower than Rustignac, but but seriously,
No need for that.
He's that sort of horse. He's taken a bit of time to come to. His first run was like quite reasonable, and the last run was a good run.
Yeah.
I don't know how strong the field was, but it was quite. It's better than his work at home. So
maybe Rustignac suffers from the same disease then.
I think Rustignac's got the biggest stride in the stable, so I don't know if there's a long enough race for him.
Yeah. So here's another thing, Striker. Alec and I and Gareth van Zyl, we do a little bit of measurement of horses, heart rate, stride pattern, whatever. And I've got this well, it's not only unraced, it's also unbeaten. Only Alec can mess that up. The horse is literally unbeaten at the moment. But I mean, he's putting in 8-meter strides. I was looking the other day, which is phenomenal, right?
The longest stride in the yard. Yeah.
Yeah, it's got the longest stride. Well, funny enough, Alec, I don't want to even like, of all the horses that we track, he's got one of the longest strides, or if not the longest, across the board, you know?
Yeah.
Okay, so this horse, maybe dark silver.
Joe, the horse with the longest stride I ever rode against was Horse Chestnut. That horse, I used to track, obviously still you track other horses, or you know how far you must sit behind a horse in the race.
Yeah.
I used to track him. Well, I finished second to him 5 times. I used to track him, and I had to literally give myself more space because his back legs used to come out so far.
Okay.
It was phenomenal.
Very interesting.
Anyway.
That's interesting. Yeah.
Wow. And Piere, if you weren't on a 21-day sabbatical and you had tried harder, would you have beaten him one of those 5 times?
I tried my hardest, and even if I was fresh, it would have made no difference. That horse used to change legs when I used to get up to him at the 400 or the 350 or whatever, and I used to think, today I've got him. And I literally would see, I mean, obviously Washang used to ride him. You would change legs, and within 3 or 4 strides, he had 2 lengths on me. It was like a different horse.
Sure.
Compared to what
you rode Pablo Zita, wasn't it?
Pablo Zita second a couple of times. Dangerous Donald. Can't remember the others.
But you found them, huh? But you still get paid for riding seconds, so it doesn't matter.
The other horse was also Mike's horse, that other Fort Wood.
Fort Defiance.
Fort Defiance, yeah, 100%. Okay, Alex, so what else have you got on Saturday that the Oaks can get stuck into or not stuck into? So basically what we're saying is...
I got 2 fair chances that they could do with better draws, but not terrible. The one in the last, he's drawn 6. I think the draw cost him last time because we're trying to teach him to race.
Oh, Copper John.
Copper John.
That's a lacquer horse, that. Yeah, I know that horse, yeah.
Tried him over further ground, but he had to learn to race. He would overdo it. So the draw cost him last time.
You do know Striker can do. You do know Striker can do 58.5 in case you're ever looking. I'm just saying.
I would put Striker on all my horses.
To jump off, take his job.
No, I love Calvin. You know, I've been friends with Donovan since Goldmark. Well, even before Goldmark days. You know, from Alec. Did you ever go to Q's, the nightclub in Market Street? I think so.
Yeah, once or twice.
Yeah, it was a popular racing hangout. You know, so I remember. You know, I've been friends with Donovan, and obviously I know Calvin.
The jockeys used to go to Q's a lot.
Yeah, late on a Thursday night, ladies' night. It was fantastic.
I wouldn't know. I wouldn't know. I wasn't there.
No, of course not.
I was working.
100%. 100%. Okay, guys, listen, I think it's time to wrap it up. Al, will you be in Cape Town next week?
Yes.
Okay, you're going to have runners on Met Day?
No, unfortunately not. No.
Just go for the sale.
Into the sale, yeah.
Okay, cool. Have you got buyers?
We got some interested parties. We'll see.
Oh, that's good. That's good. Okay, cool. Let's wrap it up. Strikes. Have you looked at Saturday yet?
I have looked. I've got 3 rides on Saturday.
Okay. Stay away from odds-on shots because you sunk the public with that horse of the Cox the other day.
Jeez, I can't believe it. I mean, the form was there. How did it lose? You tell me. Anyway, maybe the other horse improved more and my tip didn't improve. I've got 3 rides. My one in the first is a juvenile. Apparently he's quite a nice horse, but he's still like a big baby, doesn't really know what it's all about. And there's a winner in the race. Well, there's 2 winners in the race. I'm not sure if Tony Peter will run his horse. It's at one on
Tuesday.
Might give it too soon to run it, especially as it's a juvenile. Yeah. And then my best ride is probably Hawk Bull in the last race. So I'm going to take on Alec. Maybe a nice quartet. 2 horses with the field.
Hawk Bull? You're not in the last race. Anyway, don't worry about it.
last, I'm riding Hawkbill. Sorry,
No, it's not the last race. Trying to stick to riding and
last
suspension.
race.
Stick to
Hawkbill.
riding, suspensions, and videos from upmarket.
Is he not in the 9th race?
He's
he
in the 9th race,
Hawkbill?
Alec. Honestly.
Yeah, there's 10 races on the day.
Oh,
Yeah.
nice. Jesus, okay.
Now we got a chance. I got a chance again.
Yeah, and you're back in the game. Right. And for the viewers out there, you can't take a quartet between the 9th and the 10th race. I'm just saying. It's not a new bet that's been created in South African racing.
Maybe a double. Maybe a double.
Maybe take a small... Listen, you know what Joe DeMata is going to say, right? Take a place double, 4 places, 4 places. Take the 18% return on your money. It's better than the bank.
Okay. You've been right so far.
Small increments. Thanks, boys. Al, thank you so much for doing this. We'll have you in again soon.
Now that I've worked out the Zoom, yeah.
And thank you for honestly, thank you for always being one of my favorite trainers as a punter, because what Piere said earlier is the absolute truth. On the big days with good horses, we can follow you reliably. And apart from yesterday when you let us down because you're blaming the soft going, it's been awesome.
Oh.
Striker, I'll talk to you later.
Great stuff. All the best.
Cheers, guys.